anybody in the state. They didn't truly believe. It shows that the service commanders are working. Because I thought the last meeting we had was in January, but looking at the minutes, it was in December. And so if there was no peace and security, we would have been meeting more often. So I want to thank you all for keeping the peace and getting our state secured. Once again, let's put our hands together for them. And so I'd like to commend you for the synergy that is existing amongst various security agencies in the state and with the government of the state. Particularly during even the festivity period of New Year and Christmas, and we recorded no security issues up until now. And again, we had 5 years in office, and we tried to mark those 5 years in office, and all of it went smoothly. All the commissionings and everything, visitors that came, everybody came and was commending the state for the security and the peace. And so it is not just those of us, the steering, it is also all of us in the inside of the vehicle who have piloted the state to safety. I also recall the seeming security threat was the issue of headers coming into farmlands, and there were instances that we had 1 or 2 persons were killed. And even at that, we're able to take over control and ensure that the headers did not continue with that kind of lifestyle that they are bringing from elsewhere to our state. And we reminded everybody that we have laws governing Bayelsa State, and one of it is anti-open grazing, and that nobody should bring his cattle or herds to Bayelsa and begin to go into farmlands, and harass and intimidate the rightful owners of the place. And I want to commend the security, because we actually went into it and ensured that anybody that was seen was so arrested, and we put the situation under control. And so going forward, I still want to charge you to be vigilant. And let us not allow our laws to be trampled upon by anybody in the state. That's the beauty of a federal system of government. You have federal government laws, you have state government laws. And so when you come into a state, you look at the state laws, and particularly laws that will actually lead to peace and security for service commanders. And so I appreciate you for ensuring that our laws are not being trampled on, and we will continue to ensure that cattle rearers do not come into Bayelsa to do open grazing. If you want to sell your cattle, you are free to do so, but not to come and do open grazing. If you want to do that, go and buy land. Buy your land, fence it, and keep your cattle in one place. And government will be aware that there is grazing taking place here.
Now, there is an argument that Mulani headers put forward in defense of their way of life. Now, let me attempt to put things in proper perspective. You see, nobody is asking anybody to mend his way of life to suit my own. But remember that the justification for you to live your way of life ends where my own starts. Now, Fulanis say that about 80% of their family depends on cow rearing. We don't have a problem with that. We don't have a problem with how you want to go about your business. I respect anybody's business, but respect in this sense has to be reciprocal, has to be mutual. If you want me to respect your way of life, then you should also respect my way of life. For instance, I'm an Urobo man. My father did the business of Ogogoro. My father cook Ogogoro. Me, I follow cook Ogogoro. My school fees, university where I go finish. Now Ogogoro money they send me go school. But when I come to your place, you frown at me and prevent me from doing my business. And that's my way of life. But you choose not to respect it. But you want me to respect your way of life when you come to my place. Because in my own place, when I'm distilling my ogogoro, nobody tells me that I'm doing what is wrong because it's our way of life. And we both respect one another. In your own place, where you rear your cow, if you like, eat up all your crops, because nobody is your way of life. But where you take your way of life to another man's land and you say the man should bend his way of life to accommodate your way of life, now we're going to have a problem. That's where our problem begins. If you're carrying your way of life to my own space, you have to adjust to accommodate my own way of life. After all, the saying goes, if you're in Rome, you behave like who? The Rome. So if you're in my place, you behave like me. But here you are coming to my place and asking me to behave like you and accommodate you. And it doesn't even end there, to also accommodate your excesses. Now, a young man was making a video saying that if we see Fulanis don't go to bushes with AK-47, that those are terrorists. Well, I applaud him for coming out to condemn it. At least it's a good thing now that what happened in Edo State is beginning to get people to talk. At least it's getting people to talk. At least that's a start. That's a start. It's a beautiful thing. But if you are talking about respect, it has to be mutual. It has to be reciprocal. That is, it has to come from both ways. My bush is my bush. Your bush is your bush. I do not see a southerner leaving the south to the north with a gun and then vigilantes will stop us. I'm sure in fact, it is even unthinkable. It is even unthinkable. What we are saying is that if you are coming to the south, in the south, people have land. It belongs to people. Buy a piece of land and if you want to graze in that piece, if it's your personal land and you are grazing on it, fine. Nobody says anything. But you don't just take your cow into people's farm. Those that are driving their cows into people's farm don't even have AK-47. And uproot somebody's hard work, somebody's harvest, and feed it to your cows. There is no, as your cow is precious to you, it's the same way those farm produce that your cows are eating is precious to the owners of those farms. Do you know how many people you have prevented from going to farms that consequently results to hunger in those communities? If you are angry, this anger is everywhere. The entitlement you have that your people are being murdered, it's the same entitlement I have that my people are also being murdered. Because those are not reported and you have just one of yours that is reported. Now, unaliving of any kind is bad. This page does not support any violence of any kind. But if we are making argument, we have to be rational in our choices of perspectives. You cannot force people to look at things from your own binoculars. It has to come from both ways. Nigeria, if we must accommodate one another, we must respect each other's religion. We must respect each other's culture. We must respect each other's boundary. If you want to rear cows and push them around, fine. You go and do that in Fulani land. But saying you have to come and enforce your way of life in my own territory, now there goes, that is where the problem lies. If that is what you are insisting on, then there's no solution in sight.
You want peace, work for justice. For man at his best is the noblest in all animal. But separated from law and justice, he is worse than a beast. Peace, work for justice. For man at his best is the noblest in all animal. But separated from law and justice, he is worse than a beast. Equality and justice in Edo. The recent killing in Uromi in Edo State has once again brought to the fore the impunity of herders' invasion of farms under the guise of cattle grazing, created and overlooked, especially by President Muhammadu Buhari during his administration. Whilst we condone with the victim of the disease family of the March incidents in Edo in Uromi, we must also console the family of the incessant killings, kidnapping and farm invasion in Edo State and in Nigeria in general, because the matter will not be today. While I commend the swift response and effort of the state government at de-escalating the situation and tension through their action, effort, and the visit to the Kano state government and the federal government directive to arrest the culprit and ensure justice is served, may I also use this opportunity to remind those fanning the embers and the flames of war from the north, especially those people from the north, that people and villages in Edo State have been crying for protection and justice against terrorist herdsmen's invasion and destruction of their farm since 2015, when the Buhari administration came on board and turned deaf ear to all of this killing. They have been killed, kidnapped, slaughtered in their farms, some on their journey, traveling, some even in their sleep, and others were even killed after ransom had been collected from their families, just like the one that happened in Igbera camp close to Agbede recently. Sometimes in February 2021, Edo women protested in Benin over their inability to go to their farms for fear of being kidnapped by herdsmen terrorists. Also, in recent times, the Catholic bishops and reverend fathers and faithfuls have been kidnapped and killed senselessly in Auchi and Mafia Aziz in Edo North. Even as the Edo Central area, that's where the Iromi area, the Esan area, have been under siege by terrorists and bandits, kidnappers. So all of this, sometimes you get to these places, they tell you can't travel once it is fall. So while we condemn the killing, we cannot close our eyes to certain pertinent questions begging for answers. And we hope that apart from arresting the perpetrators of the heinous crime, the police and the military will use this as an opportunity to conduct a detailed forensic investigation into the killings in the state and the country, to determine also if the travelers are truly genuine hunters or terrorists, as some persons have alleged. But also, we hope that this, findings will reassure the citizens that justice is indeed a two-way traffic, which will in turn create a collaborative synergy for peaceful coexistence and ensure safety, security, and stability. Because the idea of when somebody from herdsman carry gun, then is protecting his cow, and then somebody from the south carry gun, then is a criminal. We need to find a way to balance this inequality. This event also has yet again, presented another opportunity to the federal government to address the myriad of challenges facing us, especially in security. Because I ask, what is the value and dignity of human life to us as a people in Nigeria? How do we intend to resolve the challenges of state and local government policing, banditry, terrorism, inequality, insecurity, poverty, the Land Use Act, fiscal federalism, social justice, even proliferation of small arms, cattle ranching as against open grazing, police reforms, even our population and profiling, and then true and reflective local government autonomy? You can add your own if you like, because the issue is plenty. Why the security and welfare of the people is the responsibility of the government, and the state governors are the chief security officers of their various states. But I want to ask, can a state governor command a common DPO without the DPO taking instructions from the commissioner who will take instruction from Abuja? The answer is blowing in the air, So the more we keep running away from addressing these issues, the more the country sinks deeper into the abyss of a failed and condemned state, condemned by insecurity. So don't tell me that every country have their own problem, because I will also tell you that every country deals with their challenges. And how are we dealing with us? As this menace of insecurity has become so endemic to the extent that we have accepted invasion of communities as a normal occurrence, not worthy of even mentioning in the news. Look at what is happening in Benue and all the killings that have been going on. If not for this now, we for also here too. So I will therefore advocate, while tempers are high and flaring on both sides of the divide, as those from Edo and the South are condemning even the governor for extending a visit to his Kano state counterpart and asking if those killed by